All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to Late Night Shots Podcast, episode 119. We have a Penn All-American Michael Colaiocco here today. So, what's up? How are we doing?
How you doing, guys? Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate you coming on. So, before we hop into this episode, Derek has a quick word from our sponsors.
So if you know, we have three great sponsors, Body Art Nutrition, supplement company based out of Minnesota. We got some big things working with them. So look out for our couple Instagram stories we're going to be posting here soon. We got some things working with them. And then Liquid IV, and then all you wrestlers know Defense Soap. There's a bunch of links down below. You could use that kind of stuff. Just use the links. So I guess I'll get us rolling here. Michael, welcome to the show. Obviously, we built up a pretty decent relationship with Penn. Obviously, both of us are in PA right now, so we got to, hook the PA schools up a little bit. So we'll just kind of hop right into it. I mean, we kind of like to start asking everybody, what was it like for you kind of coming out of high school recruiting wise? Was it always, you wanted to go to Penn, or was it kind of you just stepped on the campus and you knew that's where you wanted to go?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt Penn was always the front runner. I was either going to Penn or probably, a more wrestling focused school. Out of the Ivies, Penn was definitely my first choice. And I was looking at other schools like Lehigh, because I used to go up there and train throughout my high school career. And, because I was pretty close with Coach Buxton. So he would bring me into their RTC and I trained with Darian Cruz. So Lehigh was probably a second option for me. And, I was also heavily recruited by UNC, VTech. And those are always options, but I knew that I wanted to come to Penn I thought it was the best place to pursue my academic as well as my athletic goals.
Yeah, so you were
talking to everybody we've talked to so far from these Ivy League schools, everyone kind of had that, same thing. We talked to your teammate CJ, and he very much had that same point was, it was an opportunity to go wrestle at the D1 level, but it was also, to get that Penn education. So for you, what do you think how do you think it kind of differentiates you versus some of these schools you guys are competing against that aren't Ivy League schools? Do you think it's a little bit tougher for you guys, or do you think you guys are about the same level?
I wouldn't say it's any tougher for me. If anything, I'm benefiting from this in the long run. I think, obviously our RTC is a huge attraction, and it attracted me. And I was, one of the guys who committed earlier on before we had built up the RTC. And I really bought into Coach Reyna's vision where, he'd said, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. This is the direction the program wants to go. And he kind of sold, me and a bunch of my other classmates are on, that vision of being a pioneer, a trailblazer, being the first people to bring a program up. And, I trusted him. I believed in him and the coaching staff, and he delivered, every bit of it. Now we're here and we have an RTC with Jordan Burroughs, and I work closely with Joey McKenna, and I got to wrestle with Ethan Lezak, and they've all been super impactful on me. And, I have Mark Hall in my corner, who's obviously very knowledgeable about the sport. So, Coach Reyna said he was going to do this, and we did it. And so we're coming along, finished, ranked in the top 20 last year. And it's been good overall. I think, Penn probably has some of the best resources of any Division I program out there. And, that's all pretty new because of the work that our coaching staff has put in.
Yeah, so coming out of high school, you're one of the top recruits in the country. You wrestled at best high school in New Jersey. I'm from Jersey. I watched you wrestle a good bit. You were Blair. You had these duels of Bergen Catholic every year, Robbie Howard, guys like that. What was it kind of like wrestling for Blair?
It was awesome. I mean, my whole Blair experience was awesome. And I think, more than just stepping on the mat with a singlet, it was really cool to be a part of that culture, to be a part of that winning culture for 4 years in a row. And, the friends you make through that common goal. I think it was just exciting and, super fulfilling for me. And, obviously I look up to Coach Antonelli, who did a great job at Blair while I was there. And, it was great. And obviously we were given a ton of opportunities to compete at the highest level, whether that was Ironman, Beast of the East, and a lot of us went out to Fargo. So I think overall, it gave me a great opportunity to prove myself when I wanted to perform, and obviously, cultivate that brotherhood with that team.
Yeah. So obviously for Penn, you have to commit like a decent bit early because you have to commit to like the admissions process. You see people going like the end of their sophomore year of high school. To make that choice that early, was it like kind of hard for you, or was it just kind of I knew like this is like an Ivy League school that they're insanely good and I want to go there?
Yeah, I mean, making a decision on your college, so many schools is it's never going to be easy. And for me, obviously, it was a little bit of a leap of faith because at the time I committed, I don't even know if UPenn was in the top 50% of Division I wrestling programs. And for me, it was just kind of believing in the coach's vision and the resources that he promised me. And yeah, it was a difficult decision for sure, but I hope that now we've made it easier for some of these high school recruits to commit to Penn because they know that we're going to deliver on our promises.
Yeah. Speaking of high school recruits coming in, you have Martin Cosgrove who just won his second state title, and you have top 5 pound for pound recruit Christian. Is Christian Carroll going to Penn now? Yeah, he is.
Yep.
Just his
Yeah.
commitment to Penn. So you have a solid heavyweight coming in. You have a guy who's probably going to go 97. So your upweights taken care of for like the next 5 years there.
Yeah, that's super excited. I'm excited to get them on board. And, Martin Cosgrove has been training with us with the PRTC. So, I'm friendly with him and I've seen his work ethic, and I have no doubt in my mind he's going to accomplish whatever he sets out to, especially with our program. And, I'm also super excited. I'm not sure if many people know, but my youngest brother, Lewis, who's a senior at Blair right now, is also in an incoming class. So, I'm excited to go on that journey with him, through his college experience. And I get to wrestle with him for the next 2 years or so. So, I mean, yeah, it's super exciting.
Yeah, I know Blair had a couple problems, during COVID with them not allowing out-of-state students back in, right? So school kind of went under the radar for a bit. I know I'm good friends with Noah Pettigrew, and he was one of the biggest components there, and he had to go back to Georgia, and then Rylan Rogers left. You didn't go through it like yourself, but now your brother did, so you kind of know a good bit about that. So what was that kind of like?
Yeah, it was tough to watch from the outside, seeing the program that, I was able to go through. And, I think we finished as number one team all 4 years that I was there. And, to see that kind of go downwards a little bit, it hurt me, because obviously I'm always going to love that program. But, there's only so much that you can control, especially with COVID. And I think those guys controlled what they could, and they were jumping through hoops to make things happen. And, I'm proud of all the guys on that team right now and, the coaching staff there. And, they did what they can. And there's some things that you just can't control. And, I have no doubt that culture is, still producing great young men. So maybe they're not getting the results the last year or two, but, within time, I'm sure that Blair will be back on top.
Yeah, so she said you get to wrestle with your brother next year. He's in this next incoming class. So, what are you looking forward to there?
On like actually wrestling him, I'm looking forward to that. I always used to beat him up. I'm the older brother. I got to do my thing. But then, now he's about maybe 4 or 5 inches taller than me. He's got like 10, 20 pounds on me. So he's giving me a challenge, and it's going to suck, but one day I'm going to like to see him beat me. And, I'm excited for him to join this program and see what Penn has to offer, and just enjoy his time here in this awesome place. And I'm just looking forward to spending more time with him. I haven't been around for the last 2 or 3 years just because I've been at college. So I think it'll be great.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, being a school in Pennsylvania, obviously your biggest opponent recruiting wise is obviously going to be Penn State. You got a school like Penn State, you got a school like Lehigh, one of the, better states college wise, for wrestling. So, I mean, what's like how guys like McKenna, Burroughs, these are guys, when you walk into, an RTC, you're like, man, I'm kind of starstruck because these are the guys that, we grew up watching. So do you think that helps, Penn get such an elite level recruiting class like they did, for this upcoming year? Do you think, having guys like that around in the room, being able to practice with them almost every day, does that help you think recruiting wise?
Yes, absolutely. And, I would like to say too that these guys are so impactful even beyond the sport of wrestling. So, obviously you're with them face to face in the room, and they're always open to helping you out with wrestling related questions. But these guys are also role models for life, and I think that's even a more important thing for a recruit to know, that you have someone that you can look up to and follow in their footsteps. And it's really cool for me to see, because when I was in like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and Joey McKenna and David McFadden, they used to train at Buck. I was an 8th grader watching them wrestle at States, wrestle at Ironman, then watching Joey and Dave go through college and be All-Americans. And, I kind of followed in their footsteps throughout my entire wrestling career. So it's just awesome to be, back on the same team with them again, and just having them be a part of my life.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was, something your teammate CJ, touched on, was just being able to, whenever he needs to pick up a phone and call Joey McKenna and be like, hey, could we go roll around? I need to just blow some steam off, whether he had a bad day, just being able to talk to those guys, as kind of mentors, and I think that's, what is so good about these RTC programs is, all these older guys, they want to stay and compete and try to get on Olympic teams, and, but they also get to impact on these, these incoming kids. So I think that's definitely going to be a big impact on Penn. And, I think, I don't want to, give you guys too much of a big head here, but I definitely see the program becoming, a top 10 program in the next couple of years. I think you're going to definitely be the, one of the best Ivy League schools. Obviously, you got to compete with Cornell, but I definitely could see you guys becoming an absolute powerhouse wrestling school.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. And, there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. And I know all the guys on our team believe in what we can do, believe in Coach Reyna's vision. And, I'm not sure if it was talked about much, but we have 10 returning Ncaa qualifiers. So, Carmen Ferrante, who didn't get the chance to represent us in the postseason last year, but he's also a returning Ncaa qualifier. So up and down the lineup, we were a young team last year, and there was the excuse where, we didn't have many guys wrestle at Ncaa's. Ncaa's was canceled back in 2020. And then, we took that leave where Ivy Leagues weren't able to compete. But now we've all had that experience. We've all been to the tournament. And I think we're just ready to take it to the next level. And, I'm excited, and I believe in the things we're going to accomplish. So.
Yeah, obviously that's a big feat, returning 10 all, 10, not all Americans, but 10 NCAA qualifiers. You don't even see the Big Ten schools. A lot of those schools don't even bring a full lineup to a tournament. So, having a full lineup, with that NCAA experience, we'll kind of roll right into that, that question. What was it like for you stepping into that packed arena, being able to compete at NCAAs? Were the nerves there, or were you think you were cool, calm, collected, ready to compete?
No, I don't think I was nervous at all. I was cool, calm, collected. I've wrestled how many matches in my lifetime, and if anything, I was just super excited. And for me personally, like, there's no better feeling than walking out onto a wrestling mat. Like, to have the lights, the fans. It's just an awesome feeling when I walk out there and I have my headphones on and I'm super focused, and I just smack my coach's hand. I remember, because this was the first year I actually got to compete at the NCAA tournament. And I just remember before my first match, like, I was super focused the whole time and walked out on the mat. And right before I took my headphones off, I just looked at my coach and smiled. And I was just like, let's go. Like, that's just so much fun for me. And it's the type of things that I live for. So I wouldn't say I was nervous at all. It was, I didn't achieve nearly the result that I wanted to achieve, but regardless of that, like, I had fun, and, I loved every minute of it. So, it was just an awesome feeling.
Yeah. So a big
when
thing
we
that
talked-
happened for you guys was no, you got it.
when we talked to, we talked to a lot of these guys that went to Blair, they went to SEM, they went to Bergen, they went to these, these big college prep schools. Do you think having, those huge tournaments, you wrestled at Prep Nationals, you guys wrestled Beast of the East, Powerade, Ironman, some of the biggest tournaments held in the United States. Do you think wrestling at those tournaments at, in high school, do you think that kind of prepared you a little bit to wrestle at big tournaments, like obviously your conference and then NCAAs?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the Blair guys, we've all been on the big stage before, and I think we have a leg up on, most of the other guys in the field where, you're stepping out at the Ironman finals, the Fargo finals, whatever it is, and I really learned to enjoy that. So I think we definitely have an advantage in that sense. But I feel like the bigger the stage, the better I wrestle. And I think that's what the way a lot of the Blair guys wrestle. So, I mean, yeah, there's definitely an advantage to that.
Yes, one of the big things that happened for you was, the Ivy League kind of shutting down all sports. Before that, seasons canceled due to COVID. So what was that like for you, just like mentally, I want to say?
Yeah. So I actually have like kind of a cool story. At least I think it's cool. My year, I was a true freshman and I was cutting down to 125, kind of doing it more for the team. And I made the weight after a pretty big weight cut. And I was weighing around 150 in the summer before my freshman year. Came down, got it under control. Had an inconsistent season my freshman year, right? Like I had some good wins. I was beating a couple top 10, top 5 guys, but then also, losing to guys that I didn't really think I should be losing to. And I made it to the conference tournament at EIWAs, and I got pinned first round. I don't want to say a fluke thing. I got pinned, right? It happens. I got pinned, and I ended up going, I think 1-2 or 2-2 at EIWAs, and I didn't place. And there's actually a photo of me, standing as my weight is taking the podium. There's a photo of me off to the side with my arms crossed, and I'm watching all these guys my weight class up on the podium. And you can see me, I'm clearly emotional and watching these guys step to the top. And, 2 years go by and, I have that photo posted. It's on my phone. It was my screensaver for a little while. And, I took it off, but, 2 years later, I got the opportunity to compete at EIWAs again. And, after that hard work and that time spent assessing what I need to do and just making small, minute changes to the formula, whatever it is, I find myself in the EIWA finals and, able to get a win and take home the title at EIWAs. And, it was such a good feeling knowing that last time, I failed miserably. And, that pushed me and lit a fire inside me to now know that, I pushed myself and now I'm back at the top of the podium. So in my room right now, I actually have, there's a photo, there's 2 photos next to each other. One of them's a picture of me staring at the podium when, I was down bad. I lost. I didn't place. I'm watching these guys take the podium where I want to be. And then there's a picture of me right next to it 2 years later, standing at the top of the podium. So I just thought that was really cool. And just knowing that, I can do it no matter what the results are, as long as I continue to stick to the process, however bad the results were one year, you can always come back and get it done the next year. So I'm super proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's awesome to hear. A lot of guys, sorry, a lot of guys have that moment their first couple years, whether it's, the adjustment to college or, kind of you getting a little bit swamped with classes, whatever happens, you see a lot of guys, who are these big high school prospects, and then they kind of fall, they fall a little short, kind of get swept under the rug. But I mean, obviously it's just all about having goals and setting yourself up for, for greatness. So, well, what are you looking forward to? I mean, Penn, like we said, has some hammers coming in. You guys have some hammers there already on your 10-man lineup right now. So, what are you guys looking at as a whole, as a team? And then what are you yourself looking for, kind of looking forward to this upcoming season?
Yeah. I mean, I'm super excited just to get to know these new freshmen and welcome them aboard and, see how they mesh with the team. And, I'm looking forward to just getting back on the mat. I'm a little banged up right now, so I haven't been able to wrestle, but I'm just looking forward to, to wrestling with these guys and getting back to wrestling some freestyle with the RTC. And then obviously next year, I'm not sure if you guys know, but the EIWAs will be at the Palestra at Penn next year. So obviously I'm super excited for that. And I think we'll be in the running for the team race once again. It'll, Lehigh and Cornell and Princeton are also, going to be tough opponents, but I'm excited to see how we fare against that competition with a whole year of experience behind us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with this last season kind of being like the first fully, full crowd, full everything, I think obviously the fans are going to be excited. I'm sure you guys will have a great conference tournament. I'm sure you guys had one, the same this year, but I mean, so what kind of give us a little rundown, during the season, obviously, you being an Ivy League guy, what's kind of your daily life like? Do you guys have, an insanely packed schedule every day?
Yeah. I mean, you need to have great time management skills in order to compete at a high level and go to Division I schools. So, you know, I run a super tight shift throughout the season. It's kind of like what we usually have a lift in the morning. So 7 a.m. we'll get to our lift, and then after that and shower, get right to class. And I like to schedule my classes right in the morning, right after my lift, and kind of bang out some work for the day. So then, I leave time to do some homework or, if I need to make a trip to the room or hang out any kind of schoolwork, studying. I like to get that done before practice so that I have a clear head going into practice. And after that, I can get my recovery and go home, make a healthy dinner, and get to bed at a decent hour. But I think the key for me was just banging out the bulk of my work in the morning. I think I'm super productive, in those hours from like 7 a.m. to 11 to 12. Those 4 or 5 hours are the most productive for me. So I run a pretty tight shift, make sure I'm getting the right rest and recovery. But a lot of us are really good with that, especially when you live in a house with 5 other guys who are doing the same thing. You're all pretty regimented, and I think we all do a good job of managing our time, to be the best we can be.
Yeah, I
So
think the more
here's
and
the one
more
we
I
like
look
to
at,
ask. Oh, we like to ask everybody. You mentioned it. What's the house looking like? What are who are the guys you're sharing your house with? We've heard some pretty great houses. Talking to a lot of the guys we've talked to so far. So if you want to tell everybody, what your house house lineup is.
Yeah. So I live in a 6-bedroom house. It's three stories. It's in West Philadelphia, and I live with Doug Zaff, Carmen Ferrante, Ben Golden, Lucas Serrano, and Cole Urbis. And me, Doug, and Carmen are on the top floor. We like to keep it nice and clean, and then the second floor is Lucas, Cole, and Ben. And let's just say they're not worried about the little things in life. They kind of just throw things, and wherever they land, that's where they stay. So we like to keep it tidy on the third floor, and the second floor kind of does their thing. And it's super fun. We're always working hard, but we like to work hard, play hard. So there's always fun things going on, whether we're messing with each other or just keeping it lighthearted, especially throughout the season. Those dark, cold months, and you're cutting weight, you're on the grind every day. But like regardless of that, there's always a laugh in there. So
y'all play Mario Kart?
Mario Kart? No, we're not big gamers, really. We don't have that much time.
Y'all want to flip a wrestling house upside down? Play Mario Kart. The guys at Pitt, they said the same thing. Mario Kart. You'll have wrestling matches in the middle of the races. It's the best thing you could do. Play Mario Kart, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we're big poker players during the season. We'll actually, since we're not going out on like Friday, Saturday nights, we'll get some big games of poker going, and that gets pretty heated.
Good to hear. Good to hear that you guys are, keeping each other company during wrestling. Like you said, the wrestling season, it's the cold, the snow. Obviously, you being in, Philly, you obviously know it's cold, it's snowy. It is very, fighting the seasonal depression during wrestling season, especially, we take a couple of tough losses. I'm sure it's good to have a house full of guys, keeping each other company during the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so the more and more I look at it, your teammate Kelly Donegan, he makes these day in the life TikToks, and I was watching him wrestle back in high school. I see these TikToks come up. I decided to follow him back. And then he walks through like pretty much his daily routine or whatever. He'll say he wakes up like 8 a.m., goes to sleep at around 10, just going to classes and stuff. That kind of just makes me realize, like, just talking to a bunch of Ivy League guys, like most of them don't do like anything crazy. It's just the normal college schedule is guys waking up at like 1 p.m. and they're just like getting absolutely wasted at like 10.
Yeah, no, I mean we're on a strict regimen and we're pretty focused, especially throughout the season. But no doubt, like we like to have our fun in the spring, and there's always time. You got to keep balance in your life. It's something we talk about a lot, actually. Because a lot of us are super focused, and sometimes I overdo that where I'm not taking some time to relax and just take some me time. So, over the spring, like all of us like to go play a little golf or do whatever, go out on Saturday night or, play cards with your friends. So we like to keep it balanced as well. And there's a time and place for fun, but when we're ready to lock it in, there's no doubt that we'll do that.
When you came to Penn, were you already like in this mentality that like I'm gonna be on a schedule, I'm gonna be able to stick to that? Because like I know a lot of guys burn out under like just like the stress of college, having to play sports and things like that. Because there's obviously people who just who are just going there, like obviously they're smart, but they're probably not built for the whole Ivy League thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew I was gonna have to work hard. One thing I was talking to my brother about. Coach Reina said to him, like, if you want to come here, you got to be prepared to work the hardest you're ever going to work in your life. And as weird as it might sound, like that's enticing to me. Coach Reina talks about unleashing human potential. Like, when he describes his job is to unleash human potential. And, I was never scared of hard work. And honestly, I enjoyed it. The more I got here, the more I learned how to deal with not so much the stress, but just a busy schedule and staying on top of 4 or 5 different things at once. I think, in the long run, that's going to give me a leg up on, people when I'm trying to get a job or when I'm in the workforce, because you can't wrestle forever. So.
Yeah. Penn is one of those schools that recruits, heavily out of New Jersey. You have Ravano, who's a 2-time state champ, yourself out of Blair, and a bunch more guys there. So what was it like, being on a team with a lot of guys you've possibly wrestled, you've seen wrestle for like the past 4 or 5 years before that?
Could you repeat that again? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
My bad. What was it like being on a team with like that recruits like heavily out of New Jersey, like where you're from?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. All the guys on the team mesh well. And, most of the guys, it's not like we're meeting when we're at college. We've known each other throughout the years, whether we've gone to the same club, the same coaches, same people. So, I think it just makes it easier for the team gel. And when you're trying to get a bunch of people to work together towards a common goal, being able to build those relationships and, cultivate, make that culture, I think it's just so much easier when you're recruiting guys from the same area.
Yeah. And then probably the biggest event for you guys this year, CJ Composto gets on the podium, knocks off Micic in the blood round. So he kind of just like hit that one breakthrough that I think you guys needed to elevate your program to the next level. Say you have a returning All-American guy who did it as in his first year of college wrestling too. So
yeah, it was awesome to watch, and I'm super proud of CJ, and the kid deserves it. I mean, he's sometimes my body gets beat up, but I get texts from him in the season every Sunday, like, hey, you want to roll? Hey, you want to roll? Like our one day off, hey, you want to go and get a roll? And as long as my body's feeling up to speed and I'm not too banged up, like I'll always go and get a roll with him. And one thing about CJ, I think, is he just loves the sport of wrestling. And I think that really works to his benefit. He's always in the room trying to, better himself. And, I praise him for that. And I look up to him in that way. And, for me, it's kind of a competition. Like, what's CJ doing? Am I working as hard as CJ? Am I working harder than CJ? Is CJ doing more than me? And for me, it's kind of that good competition, and, getting to wrestle CJ in the room throughout the season is awesome too. We've had some crazy live goes where he'll throw me to my back, I'll throw him to his back. And it just, it's really good. We've just made each other, a lot better. And, I'm super proud of him for accomplishing what he did this season. But, I think there's still more to come for him. I think that I believed he was going to All-American more than he did sometimes. And, now that he's finally seeing the light, I think, he's got a super high ceiling, a ton of potential for these next couple of years.
Yeah, I know he was talking about that when we had him on the podcast. He was like, my goals for this season were just to break the lineup, maybe win a match at UWA's qualifying national tournament. And he was like, every time he would practice with Joey McKenna, he would tell him he's going to All-American. And then he would be like, I don't know about that until it actually happened. So a big thing is like, where do you think the trajectory of your programs head in like the next few years? You have Jordan Burroughs there, you have Brandon Slay, who's part of the RTC, Mark Hall, David McFadden, Joey McKenna. All guys are looking to make world teams too. So where do you think that leads your program?
Yeah, we're aimed upwards for sure. I have no doubt we'll be a top 10 program. We just got to get the job done at NCAAs, right? And we've had that experience this year, and we'll continue to grow and develop as a team, and, making sure each individual gets what they need. And, there's no doubt that I see us being a top 10 team, while I'm still on this team. I graduated 2024. So in the next 2 years, I believe we can get it done. And, obviously with the help of the RTC and guys who get to wrestle with JB and Mark and Joey and Dave. So, yeah, I have no doubt that we're going to accomplish what we want to accomplish.
Yeah, so obviously big event that's coming up, the World Team Trials pretty soon. I think the US Open already started actually. So, I think you guys competing at that, like, you're gonna be watching, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, any matchups in particular you're looking forward to?
I'm excited to see not particular matchups, but I'm excited to see how Nick and Ncaa and Doug Zapp compete. And I think Max Hale is also out there. So I'm excited to see how our college guys can compete on the senior level. I believe in their abilities 100%. And yeah, I'm just excited to watch them go to battle. And then obviously on the junior level, we were going to send a couple guys, but some of us got hurt. I mean, I would kill to go out to Vegas right now, but I'm a little banged up. So I'm just doing what I can to heal up and, help out in any way that I can. Doug Zaff needs anything before he goes to Vegas. Like, there's anything I can do off the mat for him. He knows I would. So, yeah, I'm excited to just watch those guys compete and, see how our team fares against a senior level field.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest storylines of this year would be Jordan Burroughs. Already accepted his bid to Final X. He's going to be looking to win his seventh gold medal, which would move him up to the number one spot in theory. Right? That would be cool to be part of history. I know he was pretty much known for being part of Nebraska. I know they still, they celebrate everything he does, but he's with you guys. I think just having this as like his next major milestone is pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'd be awesome to be a part of it. JB is just an inspiration. Like, when you step in the room, you're super tired, you're sweating, and you look over and you see Jordan Burroughs doing the same exact thing as you. So I think that instills some confidence in this team. And, along with the other RTC guys, obviously he's been in this game for a long time. He's in my opinion, the greatest of all time. And guys like Mark Hall and David and Joey get to wrestle with him every day. So, he's just elevating the rest of the RTC and in turn elevating our program. So it's just really a blessing. And I'm so grateful to be a part of, his journey and, help him accomplish his goals as he elevates our program.
Yeah, and even more than that, being from New Jersey, Jordan Burroughs, I don't know if you're old enough to have seen like the whole state finals with Molinaro, but you've probably seen the replay somewhere. Like right there when you're a kid, you see him going out in London, winning his Olympic gold medal, world title after world title after, and he's like the pinnacle of like New Jersey wrestling. You have him, Bob Gardner, it's like right up there. Like, what is it like to be able to just like be in a room with him? Like, I know I'm kind of like asking the same question again, but like, have you ever gotten like a chance to like just sit down and like talk with him?
Yeah, absolutely. JB will talk to anybody. And, he's a super knowledgeable guy and both on and off the mat. And, if you ever have any questions or advice, he's always down to talk. And like I said, he's just an inspiration. And, he says like, you don't need to be gifted or talented. Like sometimes the way he thinks about it is like anybody can do it. And, if you think that way, it's just, you allow yourself, to be successful. And he talks about, giving yourself permission to win. And he talks about his college journey where, he would say, oh, I lost close to some guys, or I lost close to a really good guy. And, what made him turn the corner in his career was he would start giving himself permission to beat these guys. He's like, yeah, I can beat these guys. I know I can. Let's just do it. And, he kind of instills some of that wisdom in our team. And it's just super inspiring to watch history in the making.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, one of the things your teammate CJ kind of touched on was being in the room with JB. He's teaching you guys how to become, obviously better athletes. But CJ said, he's teaching you how to be a better husband, how to be a better father. I know he brings his kids in the wrestling room all the time. I'm sure you've been there when they're running around while you guys are practicing. So, do you think that's going to help you in the future? When you start settling down, getting married, having a family, having a mentor like that, you think that'll help you in the long run as well?
Yes, absolutely. And like I said before, like all these RTC guys, they're not only mentors for wrestling, but mentors for life. These guys conduct themselves, with class. They do the right things on and off the mat. And, you get to watch these guys progress through their stages of life. And JB's got his kids and, in my opinion, I think he's done a great job with everything. And he's just, he kind of leads the way and shows us what it's like to have kids. And, I think it's crazy how he's able to balance so much at once. Right. And, as we're watching him, go through his life, I think it's just awesome for us to kind of see into the future and show us how it's done. And, if we ever have any questions or need advice, like obviously he's way ahead of us and he's done it. So I think he's a great person, to talk to.
Definitely. One other thing, before we get into our questions, we're gonna hop into that segment in a second here. But we talked to CJ. His biggest thing was obviously, Stevan Micic is somebody who, kids our age, I think we're all pretty much around the same age. We all kind of watched him wrestle growing up. He was in the college game for 7 years. For him, that was, kind of like the changing the guard. He, talked to us about, he used to watch Micic highlights when he was coming, when he was in high school. So do you think you've had that match yet where you watch this guy growing up compete and you kind of, you had that chance, that opportunity to wrestle with one of those guys?
Yeah, unfortunately, I really can't say that I have. I mean, my EIWA schedule this year wasn't the toughest. I had an okay year, and I went through IWAs, and there was only like I think there was 2 slots to qualify for NCAAs at the conference tournament, and then at NCAAs, I didn't really get to see any of those older guys. So I can't say that I've wrestled someone that was way older than me like that, but I would definitely be looking forward to it. So if I could get my hands on some experienced guys, and if I were to be able to go to Vegas like this weekend, if I wasn't banged up, then that would be exciting for me. But I think for CJ, I think it's awesome now how it kind of comes down to like he was watching and learning from this guy, and then now they're finally on the same level, and he actually comes out and beats him. So I mean, that's inspiring for me at least.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we'll hop into our questions here, kind of let the fans get to know you a little bit more on a personal level. His are a little bit more wrestling related, so I'm going to let him go first, and then I'll close it up with some fun stuff, kind of get the fans kind of get to know you a little bit better. So I'll pass it over to him.
Yeah, you've been in the college wrestling game for a while, so if you had to pick your 3 favorite collegiate wrestlers, none of them can be from Penn. They don't have to be current.
Yeah, that's a great question. I got to think. I mean, definitely number 1, David Taylor. He was someone I watched growing up, and I love, my ankle picks are kind of like my number 1 offense. And I love the way he, in college, he would pick guys apart, hitting ankle picks left and right. So that was something I really grew up watching. If I had to pick 2 others, I think I would say Jason Nolf is number 2, just because I love how hard he wrestles, and he is never satisfied with like just a win. He doesn't care who you are. You could be wrestling a top 5 guy, and I remember in college he would go out there and just take people down and start cutting them and just put a pace on them. He doesn't care how good you are. You're ranked number 2. He's going to take you down in the first period and cut you, make it 2-1 because he's fearless. And I love the way he competes, and that's something that I'd like to work into my game where you're not satisfied with just a win on anyone. Like, when I watched him wrestle, he looked like he was there to tech fall anyone who was in front of him. And, he just wrestled hard with that pace. I think that was really cool. And then if I had to pick a 3rd college wrestler, I guess I would say maybe Anthony Robles, just because, he shows you like there's no excuses, right? And if you really want something that bad, like no matter what the circumstances are, like you're gonna go get it. You just gotta play the hand you're dealt and figure out a way to get the job done. And I think, he's a great example of that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my more favorite lists right there. I think again, we're keeping the David Taylor streak alive. I think everybody said David Taylor right now. I think deservedly so. The way he wrestled throughout college was something special. But my next question is, if you had to pick one guy that you want to wrestle, whether it's in college or freestyle or even now on the world scene, like who would that be and why?
Well, I guess I could I guess I could do both. I always watch. I watch a lot of international wrestling, and I'd love to get my hands on Haji Aliyev. I think that would be really cool to get that match. I just like his style, and I think it would be fun to wrestle him. He's probably like a little bit bigger than me, but maybe one day if the opportunity arises. And then I guess in college, Dayton Fix is still around. I'd like to wrestle him. I don't think I've ever wrestled him in a match, so. And I think he'll probably be the top ranked guy at my weight starting next year. And that match in.
Yeah. Derek.
All right. So my questions are a little bit funny. Everyone usually gets a good laugh while we're here. So I'm gonna have three for you today. We asked our teammate CJ the same thing. So if we were to come, we were to come down. We came to watch a Penn duel. Watched it. What's the go-to place to go eat after a Penn duel match? Where are we going?
I'm interested to see what CJ said, but I'd probably have two places. I can't just pick one. I'm Italian. I love my Italian food. Sit down for a nice dinner. So I love this place called Pietro's. It's in Center City. And usually my parents will come down and take me out there. You weigh in, you wrestle hard, and you get a nice Italian dinner. But then also there's a place that's a little closer to Penn's campus called Baby Blues, which is a really good barbecue place. So, if Pietro's is not in the picture, I'm always down to hit Baby Blues. I'm interested. What was CJ's answer? I'm interested to hear.
Oh, we gotta have to look.
Okay.
I'll keep asking if you want to look for me. I'll let him look, and we'll let you know. So next question. I've been interested. There's a lot of videos on TikTok of people at these Ivy League schools eating some weird food at the dining hall. So obviously, freshman year, you were probably eating it off. You were eating at the dining hall, I'm sure. Weirdest thing you've ever eaten at the dining hall at Penn? Go.
I wasn't eating at all my freshman year because I was making 125.
I forgot you got 25 pounds to make me.
I gotta think. I mean, everything at the dining hall was weird. I would just throw some, I was eating ketchup with everything. I mean, it is what it is. The dining hall isn't horrible at Penn, but I actually, if I had a tough weight cut that week, I would probably just take some of my own money and buy some healthy food.
Yeah. Well, obviously,
now I don't eat at the dining hall anymore. I have, I live off campus, do my own shopping, and I'm with Eat Clean Bro. So shout out Eat Clean Bro.
Hey, shout out Eat Clean Bro. But last question. We asked this question to every single person. Every single guest that has come on the show has given us an answer. We've had some pretty damn good responses. I don't know if your answer is going to, line up with theirs, but you could take 4 of your Penn teammates, not counting the RTC, because we didn't let CJ use the RTC. You could take 4 of your Penn teammates with you into the zombie apocalypse. Which 4 are you taking and why?
Yeah, this is actually funny because for our Penn Media Day, we had the same question. So I would probably take, I know everyone on the team always says number 1, Jake Hendricks. He is kind of like backwoods, gritty, like he
I do remember CJ saying him. He was on CJ's list as well. I think that was his first as well.
Yeah, he's definitely number 1. I would probably say Cole Urbis, number 2. He's very like intuitive. One time he was locked out of our house and he found a way to stick something through the door and found his way in. So he's just like super creative in really strange ways that I think would be useful. Cole Urbis, number 2. Trying to think. Probably our heavyweight Ben Golden, kind of go just like Hulk smash. He's a big dude. And then for a 4th person, I mean, I think I'd make it through with just those 3. But if I had to pick a 4th, I can't pick any RTC guys.
We'll let you take one.
Maybe our 125 pounder would be our 4th. Ryan Miller. He's kind of like a silent killer, is what we call him. So.
All right. There you go. I will say good team. You have some competition. I think eventually we're gonna take all these clips and put them up against each other because we've had Olympic gold medalists on, we've had world, people on world teams. We had Wyatt Hendricks came on, and he's obviously in the Air Force, so that was an interesting team there. I think his team kind of won, being that it's all trained military. But we'll say it'll be interesting to see where everyone's team lines up. But obviously, thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate you giving us your time. We hope that you guys, not just you, but you and all your Penn teammates, we're gonna reach out to some more of you guys to come on. Obviously, we want to support the local colleges as much as we can. So yeah, we appreciate you coming on. We wish you, you and your team the best of luck coming into the upcoming season. And hopefully you see us, us two large men smiling at you at nationals. Hopefully we make a trip down to Tulsa, and we hopefully, going to submit a lot of stuff to the NCAA, hopefully get approved for media passes. So hopefully we can get on the floor and do some interviews with you guys. So hopefully you see us two smiling, waiting after you, get a big win.
Hey, thanks guys. I appreciate all that. And thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I think we're heading in the right direction with this podcast too. Big outlook for you on this year also. So it's been episode 119 of Late Night Shots. We'll see you guys again next time.